Hey, good morning, guys. This is your host, Bobby Davis here. Hey, folks, I wanted to take a moment this morning to introduce you to today's guest, Dr. Derwin Warren. Derwin is the founder of the Meaningful Power Foundation, a nonprofit dedicated to empowering young people ages 10 through 18 through hands-on STEM boot camps. His programs focuses on robotics, financial literacy, and project management, giving kids a real-world experience with labs and scholarship contests. Recently, Dr. Warren added an exciting new chapter to his story by conquering Mount Kilimanjaro, the tallest freestanding mountain on Earth, an inspiring achievement among many that reflects his adventurous spirit and commitment to pushing boundaries. Join me as I welcome to our studios Dr. Warren. My man Derwin, what's going on with you this morning, brother? How you doing?
Hey, Bobby, man. Hey, I'm really thankful to allow me to come on your show for you. Everything's going well so far. It's sunny outside. Life is good.
Oh man, that's what I'm talking about, brother. That's what I'm talking about. Hey, listen, the last time you and I talked, man, I know you were in Detroit, and you guys were actually conducting a program in Detroit, right?
That's right. Yeah. We just recently wrapped up in February our what we call a Technology and Focus event. And it's pretty much an annual event that we do every winter. I typically put it around the winter time because that's when Detroit public schools are on winter break.
Okay.
And we usually use that time to focus on a lot of different emerging technology. And in this case, we focused on robotics for ages 10 to 12 years old in this case. Well, actually, it was 10 to 18, but I took the 10 to 12-year-olds and took them through robotics specifically.
Okay.
And it was a good program, 3 days. We wore them out in there. When they left out there, their heads were hurting, but they were happy once they got to the end and saw the robots being built out properly. They engineered them and programmed them properly. And
Wow.
we had some young people who walked away with $500 competition scholarships as well. So they were definitely
Nice. Nice. Well, listen, man, we certainly excited to hear more about the STEM program and all of the great things that you're doing, especially for young folks. But before we dive into that, Darren, why don't you tell us a little bit more about yourself, man? I know you've been in that tech space for a while. I know that you got a couple of things that you're doing, so perhaps you can give us maybe just a more general overview of what you're doing right now.
Oh, for sure, most definitely. So I'm born and raised Detroit, Michigan. So for any Detroit listeners out there, I say the old slogan of "What up, doe?" That's what we right. But born and raised there, and just coming up. I think for me, mathematics and science came kind of, I won't say easy, but it was just something that was interesting to me, and I was able to make that a priority, and me being able to figure things out. And that started my path down the lines of just choosing a field in this STEM area, which I know we'll kind of jump down and talking about as well. So math and science came well to me. So I know what I wanted to go to school to do something in that area. I didn't know exactly what that was going to be. I had heard the term of engineer at one point in time in my life. I didn't know what that meant. I didn't know how
Yeah.
many different variations it was.
Yeah.
But I jumped down that rabbit hole and ended up attending Alabama A&M University and went down this path of computer science. And so that's where I was able to
Nice.
gain both my bachelor's and master's in computer science from Alabama A&M, another master's in applied data science from Syracuse, and then a doctorate from Colorado Tech. Now, I know all of that. I hated school, and that doesn't sound like I do, right? After you go through all of that schooling. But I guarantee you, coming up as a young guy, I did not want to go through a lot of schooling. But over time, as you grow, you get a little bit more passionate about these things. So
Right. Man, that's so interesting, bro, because you talked about and obviously with you being in computer science and stuff, you have to have this affection for math. And I just don't know. I mean, that's the one subject I think I struggled the most with in school was math. That was the class that I probably hated the most to attend. But for you, it just came naturally. I mean, as a young person, when you just found yourself being able to gravitate to doing math well, and it just made sense to you.
yeah, it's interesting too because I'm still trying to figure out where that comes from myself, and I'm somebody who I've gone back and searched my history. I know a lot about our history and our family, And
Hmm.
most of the people, if not all of them, were not good in math and or science. So I'm still, so maybe I'll come from another planet or something of that nature. I don't know. But for some reason, it could just be, my focus and path in it, right? Because I also saw it was a very difficult subject. There weren't a lot of people in my immediate area who knew a lot more about stronger math, especially when you get around that time of when you start transitioning to geometry and algebra. That's typically where you see the break, where
Yeah.
most people, no, I'm not going down this path at all for the most part. That's a big disabler for STEM as well, because once you kind of get that in your mindset that, oh, math is just a fear factor for me and I want to stay away from it completely, that typically is going to push you away from just about all of the STEM fields.
Right. All right. And that's, man, I'm glad you brought that up, because we're gonna dive into that piece just in just a minute here, because I think that the deterrent for a lot of folks entering into not only STEM, but just really looking at the sciences and perhaps even technology evolves around their concern about math. And it's not that you probably couldn't learn how to do math, or you can't learn how to do math, but there is a fear. I know I had it, and it stopped me from doing certain things, right? Because I'm like, man, I ain't fooling with that, because I already know I'm gonna have to do. It's gonna be math heavy. So
Mhm.
you never really gave yourself a chance to really even see if you could, because you had this preconceived notion. So I certainly want you to talk a little bit more about that, because I think that's important that we dispel that myth that exists, especially around the sciences and technology and things of that nature, because there are a lot of people that are probably good at these things, man. They just feel like they can't get through it because of the math. So, but listen, we gonna get going here, man. So I wanted to find out from you, because you started this nonprofit. We know that you have a background in the tech space. And, but starting a nonprofit, what was the thing that motivated you to set this up? And, was there some calling or something that you felt that you needed to do? Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah. Even as a young kid, I was always involved with doing some level of community work or community service, if you will, whether that be, helping out with homelessness. I was a Meals on Wheels driver for many, many years. So
Okay.
I was always a mentor as well. Once I got to the stage where felt that I could become a mentor to young people. So there was always that passion for me of, the quote unquote giving back, if you will.
Hmm.
I didn't specifically put it into words, if you will, from a meaningful power foundation perspective until I started to think back into my own story. So as you talked about the fear of math and, I didn't have a lot of engineers or scientists that were around me so that I could see and kind of feel that, if you will. So it was a little bit of a struggle for me to kind of like figure out what path I wanted to go down. And so I was sitting around one day and I was thinking, a lot of people in this industry or in this world, they have a lot of power. And from my own personal opinion, I think in a lot of cases, a lot of people with power can use that in non-positive ways, if you will, right? And for being able to get you, influence you to do certain types of things and go
That's
down these
true.
certain types of paths. And so I say, I want to use any power, if you want to say that I have that or you have that I have in general to help these young people positively. And so that's why I came up with the term meaningful power, right?
Gotcha.
Putting meaning behind the power that you have, which we all have from an influential perspective, to be able to get the youth on the right proper path. Now, what path that was going to be, I wanted to go down and I looked at, well, what's important to the youth? And good thing about the youth is that what's important to them is it modifies over time, just like any adult, right?
Hmm.
Change comes and new concepts and methodology arise and you have to be flexible. So I know with the youth, the STEM has always been a big one. And the reason I say that is because typically, as people get older, they typically get a little bit more wanting to understand the STEM or technical space. They want to get more into that line of work, right? When they
Right.
could be in the 30s, maybe even 40s, and things of that nature. So I know STEM was one of the ones that was important. Financial literacy is another one, right? People want to make money, they want to be successful, they want to achieve on that side of the house, and then entrepreneurship was also another level. So I said, I'll tell you what, I'm going to kind of revolve Meaningful Power Foundation around those three core concept areas and push that down for ages 10 to 18. Actually, we started at ages 12 to 18, but I reduced that down to 10 years old. I want to start out as early as possible with the young people. and make them a lot more competitive earlier in life as opposed
Gotcha.
to, so that way, when it's come time for them to go and attend a conference or, go to some subject matter expert, they've already heard these terms. They've already kind of been around these things. They've already touched it and felt it. And so it's not going to be abnormal for them. They'll be ready to rock and roll. And they'll actually, in a lot of cases, be above ground in a lot of these rooms, if you will. So just
Gotcha.
the
Gotcha.
competitive nature of it wanted me to just get them on the path a lot early so that I was exposing them to these topics a lot
Okay.
earlier.
So for some of the folks out there who may be listening, can you tell us, like, just in layman's terms, what STEM represents? What is it? Just,
Yeah, yeah, sure. Yeah, that's a
base.
good point. And that's one of the things with Meaningful Power we do as well. A lot of times, professionals like ourselves, we can throw a lot of terms around
Right.
and, we just assume that people know what we mean. And I always tell any of the subject matter experts that we bring in, listen, I know you know AI, I know you know project management, I know you know how to be a leader, but
Right.
be careful with, these are young people. They've never heard these terms before. Always define the
That's
terms
right.
as much as you can. So STEM, acronym for science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. And it's just an educational curriculum that's based around those 4 topic areas to get more students involved in college careers going down a technical path, if you will.
Okay.
Right. Now,
Okay.
over the years, they've added in arts to that as well. So nowadays, you may even hear it referred to as STEAM. So science, technology, engineering, arts, and mathematics. So they added the arts, which is like fine arts, performance arts in, because they want to make sure that the students are leveraging their creative and innovative skill sets along with those technical skill sets. So
Got it.
not just being a follower, but actually being someone who innovates and creates this technology. So that's why
Let
the
me
arts was added in.
let me ask you this. Why do you think STEM was created?
Oh,
Why was
well,
it born?
yeah, out of the research that I saw, it was based upon the numbers of the technical jobs and careers on how they were decreasing over time, which is the amount of people that were getting mainly in those fields, it was just lowering over time. And we knew that we needed to actually insert this curriculum into say things like academic areas and things of that nature to make sure that the students had a chance to go down these paths and be able to choose the technical field that they wanted to go down.
So
But
so what you're
that level is decreasing.
okay, so what you're saying is that um these particular areas were underserved to a certain extent.
Yes.
And so I guess most young people, when they were coming out of high school or in high school, they were going on to college or whatever and not really even touching these particular areas. Now, with STEM programs having been out for a while, do you feel like it's still underserved or underrepresented in some cases, where we still have a deficiency or some type of gap still in these industries that are underserved?
There is still, and a lot of it comes from the standpoint of the earlyhood education. So both middle school and high school type of areas, they still
Hmm.
kind of lack a lot in those types of areas, especially when it's come to the areas like robotics and these artificial intelligence and cloud computing and things of that nature. I mean, they're not really touching those areas of concern as much. Obviously, they have the math curriculum and the science curriculum there, but the emerging technology curriculum is typically not there. And I've even heard from students myself where they'll say, hey, I'm graduating or I've graduated high school, but I don't really feel as prepared. If I didn't want to go to college, if I wanted to go down the path of going down a STEM field, I don't feel prepared enough to be able to actually go out and do something like that. So it
Gotcha.
still is a gap that's there. It's a work in progress, right? I mean, more and more schools are obviously adopting these philosophies and things of that nature, but it still is a huge gap for sure.
All right. Let me ask you about this. Do you feel that there are um, certain demographics that are also less represented in STEM
For sure. I mean, even
or in these areas that we're talking about?
most definitely, most definitely. I mean, Black Americans for sure. You're going to see is very underrepresented. I mean, even in the line of work that I do, I'm typically one of the few Black Americans that are in those fields. And I tell a lot of young students, especially a lot of the Black students who come with Meaningful Power Foundation, I say, don't get discouraged if you see that. I mean, that is the case. These things change over time. It is changing over time. I mean, when I was a younger guy, I mean, you would hear something about 0.3%. Now you're hearing more about 2.5%. So, I mean, and it doesn't seem like it's a huge increase, but that is a large increase over a short period of time. So it's going to get larger. It will become 5%, then it'll become 7%, and eventually become 10. It'll continue to grow over time. But I want you to be able to give yourself a chance to be able to see if this is a field that would be prosperous for you. But you're definitely going to see some underrepresentation for sure on that side.
Yeah, yeah. I think I had told you about this. I mean, when I used to travel a lot to do trade shows in that software tech space, you could look around, the trade floor and see that we certainly wasn't represented, and it always baffled me. It was always a question in the back of my mind, and it can't be because we're not smart enough or because the opportunities are just not there. I was wondering what was the thing that was kind of holding us back from being able to infiltrate that industry, and be able to, because these are well paid industries. And the thing is, the technology, most of our youth are using, right. I mean, they're experts at using a lot of this technology. They're experts at using a lot of the software programs. They know how, just seemingly organically know how to use this stuff. And I always wondered why they weren't, they was just underrepresented, and you didn't see them on from the aspect of being able to actually build these programs, or, just be in the room. And and I don't know. I mean, maybe you can address that in terms of what you see might be holding us back from embracing more opportunities in this space.
Yeah, well, listen, it's a very competitive space, extremely competitive space, and you're going to have a lot of people that are going for these same opportunities as well. So that's one. Second is you have to develop a level of fearlessness, to be honest with you. Like if it's something that you really want to do, you have to go for it. You have to have the focus and the application to be able to go for it. And again, introducing the younger people to these ideas and methodologies earlier in life, I think help with that. And that's one of the reasons why we started the foundation. And I think it kind of really removes a lot of that from your purview, if you will. So
Gotcha.
yeah, I think when you look at it from that perspective, it can be done for sure. But there's some hurdles that we all gonna have to go
Yep.
through, and I think
Yep.
if we can attack those earlier as opposed to later, then I think it'll put you on the path a lot faster for sure.
No, that's good stuff, man. That's good stuff. Now, from actually running this nonprofit, right? What are some of the challenges that you feel like that you're experiencing yourself in actually running the nonprofit? And then I know that there's a set of challenges that you have, when you're actually being able to, get in there and provide the education and the training and so forth to the young folks. But what are some of the challenges you're experiencing from a leadership standpoint, and just kind of navigating this nonprofit?
Yeah, it's changed over time. I remember when I was first telling a good friend of mine that I was going to start the foundation. He said, "Man, I really give you a lot of props for this." He said, "I used to own one, and after a year, I quit. I stopped doing it." I said, "Wow, why?" And he said, "What, man? I couldn't get the people. I couldn't get
Mm,
the people to help me along this process, if you will." And it wasn't until I started to do it, I started to understand. Okay, I can see what he means now to some degree, because when you do these nonprofits and these organizations, you're going to have to heavily depend on the people,
yep.
right? I mean, especially in these areas where the people are not getting paid. You're typically leveraging them for their skill set, and it's a lot of time involved. And you have to be able to understand how to marry all of that together, right? Making
Hmm.
it very beneficial for them, and making sure you have the mission that actually aligns as well. So I would probably say, starting out, definitely just making sure that you had the help
I
that you
got you.
needed. So I did a lot of work early on, like a lot of the work. So meaning that I did all of the teaching, all of the seminars, and I would be in there doing all of the setup and the breakdown and things of that nature. I had some family in there as well, doing a lot of that along with me. And then just over time, just having to make sure that you find the right personnel that you can kind of lean on to help you get through your mission. I think that was kind of the one of the bigger ones that I learned.
Right. Right.
Then it started to come down the path of, obviously the foundation is focused on youth, so access to the actual students.
Mm,
A lot of times people may think that, oh, that sounds like easy, just go to the school. Well, that's not as easy as you think it might be, okay?
Really?
Because the schools have their own processes and curriculums and things of that nature that they may have to go down, and then there's a lot of a process that may be associated with it. And, when you start hearing terms like process, that means that can take a long period of time.
Right.
And that can turn a lot of people off, right? If it's taking a lot of time, a lot of paperwork, and some of these organizations, they don't move very fast and very quickly.
Right.
So a lot of times, thankfully, I have been able to make some good rapport with some good schools, and I was able to gain some nice access to students, but that was always something that was difficult as well. The other part is making sure that the parents understand what we're doing. And I thought that was very, very key as well, because if the parents don't understand what we have to offer and why we're offering what we're offering, then they won't sign their young people
Right.
up.
Yeah,
And
I was going to ask you. Yeah, I was going to ask you about that part as far as the parents' involvement in this, because the programs that you provide, when you actually start, bringing the young folks on, right? How long is the program itself, and then, what aspects do you have involvement from the parents? Are they in some ways participating or helping with this in some kind of way?
yeah, some do. It's a 50-50, maybe 60-40 kind of split. I mean, I
Uh-huh.
have some parents that stick around the entire time. So let's just say, for instance, we'll go with the technology and focus boot camp, the STEM boot camp. I mean, I had a lot of parents that stayed around the whole day, and they helped, with the food service, with the cleanup, with the setup, all of that good type of stuff. You have others who, hey, they have to go to work. And listen, I mean, I understand that, right? So a lot of times our boot camps are going to be from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. So they'll come and they'll say, "Hey, Derwin, I got to get to work." Hey, no problem. Yeah, yeah, but we got them, right? You just come and pick them back up later in the evening. So you have a little bit of a mix on that, but the parents are usually very, very much involved, and I give the parents a huge kudos, because in today's world, to leave your young student or your young
True.
kid with a group of adults that you
Hmm.
really don't know for
Hmm.
multiple hours for 3 days, I mean, that takes a lot of that takes a lot. That
You're
takes a
right.
lot. I mean, it's scary nowadays when you think about it. I
You're
have young
right.
girls in the actual program as well. So I have mothers and fathers who drop their young daughters off,
Wow.
and they trusted me to make sure they're going to be safe and secure in these environments. And we've never had any issue, but I mean, I've given out awards to these parents saying, "Hey, yeah, I give you a lot, because I don't even know if I could do that, and I don't have any kids, but I don't even know if I could even drop my
Yeah.
kids off with a stranger for
That's a
multiple times."
that's a good point, man. You're right about that. I mean, in these times that we're living in, you're right. That can be challenging, but it's awesome that the parents are involved in this, and I think that's really important for the child itself. Is to see their parents' involvement and engagement in it, along with them being a part of it. So that's important. How do you get in contact? So you kind of talked a little bit about the school being a point of reference, but when you got a boot camp that you're getting ready to start, um, what do you do from a marketing standpoint to get the messaging out to folks to let them know that, hey, we got this coming up. It's going to be such and such place. What do you do when it comes to those types of things?
Yeah, yeah. So one, we use a lot of social media. I think
Mhm.
social media is obviously really good to be able to reach out to a lot of people very, very quickly. So we use a lot of Instagram, a lot of Meta, not as much X as much as we used to, but a lot of Instagram, a lot of Meta for sure. With some paid promotions, we get those things out to the people in a lot of different groups. Like for instance, there's a, I think it's called Call to Action Michigan or something like that type of a room, and we'll blast that out. And there's people of all ages in there, and that gets us a lot of access to young people. I've also built some really good relationships with some local organizations, and they have access to a lot of young people. Some are, they do things with just only young girls, so that gets me a lot of the young ladies. Some with just young boys, some with just admired of everybody. Some with a lot of community centers I've made some rapport with as well, and they've allowed me to come in and say, "Hey, we're doing joint events, and we'll send our kids over to you for the STEM and the financial literacy stuff, and then they'll come over to us for more of the the fine arts, performance arts type stuff." And so I'll get hundreds and hundreds of kids that way as well.
Okay.
And then thirdly, it's just, word of mouth. I mean, as time goes on, just like anything else, if people are happy and the feedback has been really good, then now, I'll just get texts and calls and emails from people saying, "Hey, I want to be involved in whatever you have going on next." We also do like a back to school barbecue every year as well in Detroit,
Okay.
and get people from the community to come by, and they may have not heard of what we do or who we are, and then I'll sit around and talk with them, and I'll have flyers and our upcoming events, and then all of the parents will say, "Hey, yeah, we definitely want to be a part of this." So all grassroots, right?
I got you.
I'll just tell you, I'm not doing anything special, not doing anything that's secretive.
Right.
I'm using the capabilities that I have at my fingertips to be
No,
able to
that's
make.
good, man. That's good stuff. You leveraging what you already have in play,
That's
right?
right.
That's how it's supposed to work. Now, when are you having your next event?
Oh, that's good. Yeah. So the next one is being planned for August. And so in the summer, we usually have a 4-day boot camp, 3 to 4 day boot camp that we call the Knowledge Boot Camp. And that's a summation of a lot of different topic areas from financial literacy to entrepreneurship. There's a STEM component, there's a project management perspective, there's a public speaking side. There's a lot of different pieces of the pie that we're kind of hitting on there. And this one specifically, which is every 2 years of a knowledge boot camp, we do it specifically for the young ladies. So this one would be a knowledge boot camp specifically for the young women, ages 10 to 18. And we're going to do that in August in Detroit, Michigan. And so I'm actually planning for that now. We actually have a meeting tomorrow night. We're going to kind of work through the agenda and get all of that ready to go. So definitely stay tuned for that one. That's always a very powerful one as well.
Okay. All right. That sounds good, man. So listen, you was telling me about, and we got to talk a little bit about this because you you told me this earlier, right? And I just want to bring this up and throw this piece in there because I think it evolves around the wellness side. So you were telling me earlier that you have this upcoming mountaineering event that you're going to be a part of, right? So tell us a little bit about that, man, and kind of peel that back because when I was talking to you about this, I was telling you how much I love watching mountain climbers. I love watching documentaries on Mount Everest and stuff like that. So you're getting ready. You got an expedition or something coming up here soon, right? So tell us about that a little bit.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, I'm looking at the date now. It's coming quickly. It's coming a lot faster than I was hoping for.
Yeah.
But I'm a person who I travel extensively. That's another part of meaningful power that I do as well. So throughout the year, before I get too quickly into that,
Mhm.
throughout the year, as some of the young people attend some of our events, I look for some strong young people that are mature and they can handle it to go on a international educational field study event.
Okay.
And so I take them to Egypt, we've been to Ghana, we've been to Haiti, we've been to South Africa, we've been all over, right? And it's all education. And so I've been all over Africa and all these other different type of places. So one of the years I'm on one of these trips and me and another person are talking and we say, well, it would be cool if we were to go and climb Mount Kilimanjaro.
Right.
And, and at the time, I'm not, I'm like, yeah, that would be cool.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that I was going to do it, but it would be cool. And so I started that process. And so I actually was ready to go I think it was in 2020, right
Mhm.
around the time COVID hit, and then the shutdown happened, and they shut down travel and things of that nature. So I had to postpone. So I picked it up recently as well. So yeah, June 12th coming up here pretty soon.
Oh, nice, man.
67-day expedition to climb Mount Kilimanjaro in Tanzania, Africa, for sure. So it's going to
Wow. That's gonna be an incredible experience, man. Hey, yeah, like I was telling you, when you get out there, man, make sure you get some good pictures and stuff and shoot me some of the pictures back. Maybe
for sure.
maybe I'll put that on my bucket list of things to do one day, after I talk to you about your experience.
That's right.
And check it out, man. So obviously you're running a nonprofit and you have, other things that you're doing in your career and stuff. So you're a busy man. And we was also talking a little bit about, just how to better manage your health. How are you able to balance all of this and still stay healthy?
Yeah, that's extremely important. That's one of the pieces that we also kind of teach the young people as well is that the time management, and that's a piece of the knowledge boot camp as well that we add in. Is that you have to make sure that you take time out for yourself. Like you said, yeah, I'm very busy. I also have a day job as well. I work for a large software company where I focus on artificial intelligence security and cloud computing security and things of that nature. So I'm always moving and shaking. I'm always on the road. Then obviously I'm doing the foundation stuff, and then I do a lot of local community work as well. So I'm always doing things, but I always make time for myself, for quiet time, for personal time. I block off these are things that that we've gone through practical seminars with young people on how to manage your time effectively, how to put in calendar blockers, and to, there's certain settings on your phone that you can enable so that the phone doesn't ring during certain points in time, so that you can do some of these things that you want to do. So I make time for myself every day, from either from 12 to 1 or from 3 to 4. It kind of depends on what's going on throughout that day for some time to work out. And that's always going outside. So I'm either whether that be a walk, a run, gym
Nice.
time, whatever the case may be. Get away and I put my
Yeah.
headphones on, listen to some of my favorite music or a podcast or something of that nature, to make sure that I just come down a little bit, right? Because I don't want to be sitting in front of the computer screen all day and, doing those different types of things. But I definitely make time for myself. That's one of the things that I
That's
can
good.
say. I'm a big gamer as well. So I love to play video games as well. That's one of the pieces that
Really?
I bring from childhood. I have right next to me right here on the ground is a $10,000 PC, gaming PC that I
What?
built years and years ago. Yeah, and I play it often. So, I definitely want to make time to play those type of things. I love to do, I watch a lot of YouTube. I do a lot of regular things like everybody else do.
Right, right.
Uh, I
Yeah.
just make the time for it.
No, that's good. You got to have you certainly got to have good time management, man, and it sounds like you do, to make sure that you can fit it all in, and get everything accomplished. So I guess as we get ready to close out, Derwin, tell us a little bit about some of the needs that you currently have right now with your foundation, so our audience can be aware of it, and hopefully we can do what we can to assist.
Most definitely. Well, an organization like ours, we definitely need more people involved, right? So
Mhm.
people with specific skill sets involved, and you feel like you have a skill set for young people or what they can learn, and and there is no limit to what this could be. It could be literally anything. I've had people come in and speak on a myriad of different topics. So any skill set that the young people can learn at an early age that would make them a lot more competitive to reaching and achieving their dreams, I think that we can obviously use those. Obviously, for nonprofit, donations are always going to be key as well to make sure that we can do all these events. I make sure that I recognize everyone who donates to anything that makes our foundation move. So obviously, a lot of times we get a lot of things for free as well. Like I'm
Mhm.
thankful for that too, like being able to utilize specific types of community centers and things of that nature. But a lot of these things do kind of cost as well. So that's
So,
always a big piece as well.
right. So your foundation is based out of Detroit, right?
Yes, out of the state of
Oh,
Michigan.
okay. So most of your classes and most of the programs that you put on are in Detroit. So if somebody's out of town or in a different state, how could they be involved outside of just a normal giving?
Yeah, for sure. So you know what? We actually do some Zoom courses as well.
Really?
Yeah, we've added in those since I think COVID kind of put us on that path, just like everyone else did. And so, out of our 4 main events that we do per year, we also do 2 what we call pop-up events, and we hold those on a myriad of different topics, and we hold those all over Zoom. So if somebody wants to contribute, they can obviously just come in over Zoom call, and they'll have all the students online, and you can take them through the different type of course or talking track that you want. The one thing that I always push out for anybody who wants to come and help out with the foundation is just to make it very interactive and hands-on.
Right.
So one of the things that we push is that we definitely do not sit there and make the students feel like they're just sitting in school again.
I know, right?
Right. So we want to make it be very hands-on, very practical. And in a lot of cases, we're talking about some very complex technologies. Like, for instance, I just held one recently on budgeting. Okay, that's a complex technology for a young kid, 10, 11, 12 years old. They're not going to understand all of the concepts with a PowerPoint slide and a bunch of words on the screen. So what I did was I bought an actual budgeting lab, and I put them in a lab where they had a 3-month time frame to budget all of their necessities, their expenses. They had to pay bills, they had to pay rent, they had to buy food, and they had to make sure that their credit score increased and that their what we call a life score increased as well, which is basically just balancing out fun and non-fun type activity. And they
Nice.
had a ball with it because it was all hands on, and they had never seen what a regular person has to go through on a daily basis. So, we just get minimal lecture, mainly either lab or hands-on activity. So that's the only, requirement that we typically add
Okay.
for. But
So
Zoom
so
is
what
always
so
about
So give us a rundown on the actual classes because we know about tech, right? So tell us exactly, if you can, the list of different classes or different topics that you guys generally cover.
Yep. So we talked about this, the technology and focus. We have the knowledge boot camp, which is a gambit of a lot of different talking tracks. But then we also have a project management session as well, where we take the students through initiating a project all the way through closing of a project. So we actually give them a prospectus, and they have to choose who's going to be the project manager, who's going to be the engineer, who's going to be the marketing individual, who's going to be the CEO, things of that nature. And they have to work within the confines of a budget to actually complete a actual project. And then they have to build out a PowerPoint presentation and a storyboard and everything, and then present it to us.
Okay.
Right. And then we judge who actually was able to actually complete the actual process correctly. It's funny because you'll see these young people. I'm usually the guy who as like the funding manager, if you will, and you'll see all these young kids coming up to me and say, "I need more money." I'll say, "No, I'm not giving you any more money for your project." Right? Unless they make a good case for why I should be able to give them some more money. So project
Right.
management is a good one. Like we talked about the back to school event as well. And then we also have the entrepreneurship course as well. So I know a lot of young people, they don't want to always go and work for other people. They want to actually build their own business. So we put a lot of young people out on the streets who built their own businesses, take them through how to market it, how to build a strategic plan, how to profit from it, and how to maintain it over time.
So if you're doing if you're doing an entrepreneurship course, how long would that be for? Is that like just a boot camp or, one day type thing, couple of
That
hours?
could be a one day. Yeah, that could be a one day. We can stretch it out over a period of time, but one day is enough time for us to get it done. So
Okay.
about 6 hours.
So for the folks that attend, what type of follow-up do you have, say after they attend, and let's just say they're doing the entrepreneurship class, what's the follow-up process or, after they leave?
Yeah, so I always stay in contact with all of the young people, even as they go off into college or what have you. I'm constantly keeping track with them and making sure they're staying close on and stretching out to reach those goals that they've required for themselves. So I keep contact of all the emails, phone numbers. We
Okay.
always stay in contact either through text, something of that nature. So it's never a situation where they come and then I never hear from you or see you
Right.
again.
Okay.
For the,
All right.
you know,
That's good. That's good. Do you have a success story perhaps from one of your students that may have attended your class that you'd like to share with us?
Oh, yeah. I can share one right now. So I may embarrass him, but he actually attends Clark Atlanta University right now. So
Okay.
Jordan Davis, that's one of my guys. I think I met him when he was 12 years old. He came to one of the boot camps and he was with me for the entire gambit until he graduated from high school. Helped him start his own business. His business is booming. He started an apparel business. Is going really well. I think it's called Black Drip Inc. It's
Black
going really
drip.
well.
What is it? Hold up. Hold up. Hold up. What is it again? What is it called?
Black Drip Inc.
Black Drip Inc.
Inc. Yeah.
Wow. Oh, wow. That's
Her
pretty
business,
cool.
it goes fairly well. He took it off to Clark as well with him, so he's doing well there as well. I think he's majoring in business administration, so that's going to be his calling. And it just shows the impact that you can have.
That's
If
right.
you just focus on someone's talents. I mean, I saw he could have did anything, right? Sometimes you just get some of these young people. You choose whatever you want. You're going to do well because you
Right.
just have
Right.
for it. And I remember he said, Derwin, I want to start a business. I want to be a business owner. I
Mhm.
said, okay, well, let's talk about it. And we
Yeah.
talked about go about doing it. He got his EIN, got his website up and running, and he got the name figured out and everything. Hey, he's a business owner out here in these streets, and I have
Wow.
many of those as well
Man,
from a
that's
lot of
awesome.
people who I've touched.
Yeah, yeah, that's awesome. I mean, that's awesome. The fact that he knew what he wanted to do from a young age, you know. I mean, that's the challenge for a lot of people, a lot of young folks is kind of determining what to do. But it sounds like that he was one of the young cats that kind of knew straight up, what it was he wanted to kind of get into from an early age.
For
That's
sure,
pretty cool.
for
That's
sure.
pretty
And
cool.
actually, I come across the majority of young people that I come across, they typically have some idea on where they want to kind of fit in. They just may have a few holes that they need to fill because again, just some of the gaps of the knowing and not knowing, right? On
Right,
what path
right.
to go down, what is it going to take to get there, things of that nature. But the most of them, they pretty much know what they're good at, kind of like I was with being good at math and science.
Right. And look, as we get ready to close out, I did want to make sure that we touch on the math piece.
Mhm.
because we do know that, like we had talked about earlier, how math can be challenging to some folks. So it came natural to you. Maybe speak to us about, how to overcome that fear of math, because if we can, obviously it opens up additional doors for us.
Yeah, well, with math in itself, I mean, that's one of those situations that listen, you're always going to have these people who are just good at this stuff.
Right.
I mean, like you said, not sure where it comes from, whatever. Something somewhere along in your line, someone did that, and then now it's on
Yeah.
you, right? So you're going to have those people, but then you're going to have the majority of everybody else who are going to have to work to get it done. With math and physics and chemistry, and I mean, we can go on and on and on. Those are things that if you're having struggles, you are going to have to ask for help. There's just no way to get around that. So you're going to have to either go and ask help from a group of people who are mentoring in that subject area, an educator, something in around in those fields in order to be able to get through that. That's just really, truly no way. I mean, math is one of those things where it's very defined, very strict, and you're either going to get the problem correct or it's going to be wrong.
Gotcha.
So typically, you're going to have to ask for help. It's going to take a lot of focus, but you can do it. You can definitely
Right.
do it. You can definitely
Right.
get through it. And here's the big part. This is the advantage to me that I found out. Nowadays, I don't even do that much math. After I got through with school in itself, I don't do geometry and trigonometry and all that. No, because we
Yeah.
have
Yeah.
calculators. I have software that'll do all of the math for me. I'm not sitting around writing out longhand math problems. Like that's just a way for you to prove that you understand the methodology,
That's it.
right? But so don't think that if you went to school and you went through multiple calculus courses like I did. I went to calculus 1, 2, 3, 4. Just on and on and on. I'm not doing any level of that math anymore. But don't underestimate it either because math, you have to be able to count.
Yep.
Another piece of how it flows over into our financial literacy side of the house is that you don't want to be a person who's afraid of math because now you're going to have a problem possibly with it bleeding over into your finances.
That's right. That's right.
Finance is all about math, right?
No,
So it just counts
that's a
for
good point.
repetition. And if you're having issues with it, you just have to go and seek out help. That's
Yeah.
all.
Yeah. No, that's a good point, man. That's a good point. So yeah, guys, if you're listening, just make sure that if you have any young people that are interested in pursuing technology or the sciences or what have you, or any of this the courses that Derwin was talking about, just make sure that if math is involved, that they know, hey, it can be conquered. And that's the main thing. It can be conquered, and you can just get help, get some folks to help you out. Cause that's the only way I was able to get through college, man. That's exactly what I had to do. I had to get somebody to help. And I had I had this one professor, man, he loved math. He's like you. I mean, he could just like spit the stuff out. And he just, he was like, Bobby, look, man, I'm going to just help you with this stuff. And I was like, yo, you don't help me, man. We ain't going to get through this. You know what I'm saying? But that's what he did. He helped me with math and made math. I guess the way I learned it was he allowed me, he trained me or taught me math based on how to apply it, like if we were to apply it like in a real life situation or in life in some way. So he would give me a lot of examples and stuff that I could relate to, and so that helped me to be able to kind of transition through it. But he just he made a commitment to helping me, man. So I never forget that dude.
Oh, that's the key. And trust me, I hit my wall too.
Yeah.
Like I said, I was a computer science major, but a math minor.
Mm.
Actually, I had a double major. I mean, I had a double degree, right? Math and computer science. So I had to go through the entire gambit of math and all of the computer
Yep.
science up at the
Yep.
time. And I hit my wall when I got to physics 2 and 3, and I said, listen, Dr. Ching, I need help. Like this is not going to work.
Right.
And I had to sit down with him and kind of figure it out. And
Yeah.
and I'm not sitting here to tell you that I was getting A's either. I mean,
Yeah.
sometimes I would get that C and I would run with that C. I'm not looking back.
Right. I'm just trying to get out the class, man. Oh, because the thing is, man, like you said, you can still, even now, with all of what you just learned and all that stuff in school, right? You very rarely have to use it from a standpoint where you got technology tools or software programs that can help you with it now. So that's the whole thing. You just want to make sure that you reach out for help and don't let this be a roadblock. I guess that's the main point, because it's a roadblock for a lot of people, and it stops a lot of people from transitioning into some of these spaces that they have natural giftings for, but sometimes it becomes a roadblock. So I'm glad you brought that up. Reach out for help, folks. That's all we're saying. Get with somebody to know how to do this stuff, and they'll help you through it. So listen, give us some parting words of wisdom, Derwin, before we head out, especially to our younger audience that may get a chance to listen to this.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I think you hit it on the head just right there as well. Definitely just stay focused. Learn to kind of adopt some fearlessness. I think that that's a strength. Don't let anybody try to tell you that that's anything else. That is a strength, to be fearless, because that allows you to attack these things in an intelligent way and knock down these goals. I guarantee you, and I told all of the young people, when we do the robotics piece, when they see all of those different pieces and parts and and I tell them, I say, it's going to take you 3 hours to put this together.
Yeah.
And most of them, it takes more like 6 hours.
Mhm.
3 hours for the ones that just really, really, really good. 6 hours for just what we would call just the average kid. And they struggle. And I say, guys,
Right.
it's supposed to be a struggle. And I tell everyone who helps the young kids, like any of the volunteers, do not help the young people build these robots.
Right.
It's supposed to be a struggle.
That's
And that's
it.
what
That's it.
I would start from that side of the house. But
That's it.
once you finish it, you should see the smiles on their faces. You
Mhm.
feel so good about yourself that you were able to accomplish it. And now we move on to the next phase. And that's life in general, right? There are going to be struggles. Life is a roller coaster. It's up and down. But the thing is that if you're fearless enough and have the fearlessness enough and have the focus to actually maintain through, you'll make it through. So just
No,
stay
you're right.
focused,
You're
stay on
right.
the path. And like we just said, seek out help. I think seeking out mentorship is a great thing, right? And just
Mhm.
make sure that you're choosing the mentor that's right for you as well. You should be actually interviewing your mentor, to be honest with you,
That's a good
getting them
point.
asking them questions about their skill set, meaning how can they help you? Okay, you're right. If you want to go down the path of becoming a nuclear engineer, be a mentorship that's a doctor is not the greatest path for you at that point.
Right. Right.
It might be a great friend that you can confide in and get great advice from, but
Right.
maybe now it's time to start going out and seeking out somebody who's down in that path that can really move you into to that other space. So I would just
Yeah.
say that, right?
Gotcha.
Stay the course, keep focused, and get with some people that can definitely help you get down the path that you're trying to achieve for
Good
sure.
stuff, man. Good stuff. So look, how can folks reach out to you, man, if they got questions about your programs and stuff? How can they
Oh,
reach
for
you?
sure. Like, yeah, we're definitely on all of the social media platforms. So Instagram, it'll be at Meaningful Power. On Meta or Facebook, it's Meaningful Power Foundation. You can call me as well, 443-478-3546. That's my Google Voice number. You can also email. That's info@meaningfulpower.org, or me directly at derwin@meaningfulpower.org. And
Nice.
I respond, and I'm on all of those email threads. So I'm usually the person who responds. So yeah, reach out to us and let us know if you want to be a part.
Good stuff, man. Good stuff. Well, listen, Darren, hey man, I certainly appreciate you coming on today, man. It's been a pleasure chatting with you and actually giving audience the opportunity to learn more about the STEM programs. Folks, I would advise you to reach out. I think this is a great foundation to help add value to the lives of young people and to kind of steer them in a very powerful direction. So reach out to Derwin and hopefully connect with him. And that's all we have, folks, today. I appreciate y'all joining us and look forward to connecting with you on next week. Take care.